Good afternoon, Jennifer. Thank you for coming on Sports Talk with C.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited. You already set the mood though, because you got the palm trees in the background, got the WNBA sweatshirt. So we're good. Thank you again for coming on my show. So please tell me who you are and where you grew up.
My name is Jennifer Portee. I am a middle school math teacher as well as an athletic director and a girls basketball coach.
Ooh, I can't wait to get into that.
That's a lot.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Ooh, West Palm Beach. You got the palm trees, the good weather all the time. Well, during hurricane season, no. But what is the basketball culture there?
Well, I want to say the basketball culture is not high demanding as cities that have NBA and WNBA teams. Mm-hmm. It's not high demands, but we do have a lot of basketball fans, whether they be Miami Heat fans, the Orlando Magic fans, the Miami Dolphins fans. Dolphins is football, but Heat and Orlando Magic fans. But
hey, it's
the culture is.
That's my dad's favorite team too.
Yeah, but the culture of basketball is not high demand as any other city.
So so you grew up in West Palm Beach. You say it's not basketball like big. Where did your love for basketball come from?
It actually came from my family. I grew up with a family that loved basketball. When I was a kid, every time I looked at the television, it was always a basketball game on. So I'm a daddy's girl. So I was always under my dad growing up, and he always was watching basketball. So I would sit next to him and I would ask him questions about the game, because I wanted to learn the game. I wanted to know what was going on. So he would answer those questions for me. Like it would be little questions like, oh, why did the ref blew the whistle? And then he would explain. And that's where my love came from. And then my older brothers and sisters, they started playing. And so, of course, I wanted to learn the game too. So they taught me how to play, and my dad taught me how to play. So that's where the love came from. It's just, I just always been around it.
Speaking of those memories with dad being on his hip, watching the game, at that time, who would you say you enjoyed watching the most, or you looked up to at that time?
Penny Hardaway.
Oh, good one, good one.
I love Penny Hardaway growing up. And then when the WNBA started in 1997, I became a huge Lisa Leslie fan. Like, I love Lisa Leslie. Lisa Leslie was just my favorite basketball player. I just thought that she was the most dominant player in the game. Of course, Cynthia Cooper was at that time, but in my eyes, it was Lisa Leslie.
Yeah, she was tough. Like me and my mom was just talking about, when WNBA first started, and she's like, some of these names I don't know. I know Lisa Leslie though. I'm like, oh my God, Mom.
Yes.
Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was definitely a pair. But Penny Hardaway, I enjoy his game. I mimic my game after him, actually. I would watch his game on TV, and then I would try to do some of the moves in my backyard that he was doing on the court.
See, I've always loved basketball, but I never had that desire to want to play. Like that's wow. Yeah. So when did you pick up a basketball and stop playing?
I picked up a basketball at 8 years old, but I didn't start playing organized basketball until I got to middle school. And when I tried out for the middle school team, of course, I made the team, and I had a great coach in middle school. He took time out for me because, I was still learning the game. So he would pull me to the side and work with me one-on-one while the other players was working on plays. He saw something in me. So he would always work with me on post moves. I was more of an outside player. I used to love to shoot the outside shots. Mm-hmm. And he would always tell me, don't settle for the three, or don't settle for, you got to drive to the basket. So he would always train me in that. So he was a great coach. So I started organized in middle school. And then when I got to high school, I tried out for the basketball team, and I made freshman. And no freshman want to make a freshman basketball team.
We always want to go up.
Yeah. So I was shut down. I'm like, what, freshman? Like I knew for a fact I was good enough to play varsity. And
I mean, you were probably tall enough.
Yeah.
That was the first thing anyway.
Yeah, and it was heartbreaking. And the crazy thing is, my sister, who's the oldest, she made junior varsity, and I taught her how to play. So yeah.
What the irony? Wow.
Yes. So of course I was the family joke, you know, because my brother made varsity, my sister made junior varsity, and here I am on a freshman basketball team. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm on a freshman team, and I looked at it as a bad thing, but I should have looked at it as, okay, Jordan started off as a freshman and he worked his way up to varsity. But because I was a family joke, I looked at it as, oh, this is horrible. Like my game must be that bad. And so yeah, that's where it started from.
Okay. So you say your game is like Hadaway.
Yeah.
And describe your game in one word.
I would say I love shooting the ball. So my coaches tried to make me a center because I was tall, but I never really loved the position of, I want to say, the 4 and the 5 spot. I always wanted to be like the shooting guard. So my game was more of a shooting guard because I love shooting the basketball. I just love it.
Oh, so you love the game that we have now in the NBA and the WNBA, where everybody wants to shoot from half court oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that was you.
I always settle for that outside shot, and I think that's probably why the coaches put me on freshman and not varsity.
Speaking of your basketball career in college, in high school, you made your freshman team.
Yeah.
Where did you go after that?
First I started off at a community college, and Palm Beach Community College at the time. I tried out for that team, and the coach told me I had a lot of potential. However, she had her team already formed. And so she was like, you can, come on as a walk-on, but it's no guarantee you're going to make the team.
Right.
At the time, I was working at the Boys and Girls Club. So I was doing both. I was juggling, going to practice, and also working at the Boys and Girls Club. So there were some days I couldn't make it to the 5 o'clock in the morning practices because I didn't have a car. So I caught public transportation, and public transportation would not get me to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning because I won't get there on time. So the coach, she gave me a lot of favors. She was like, well, you don't have to go to the 5 o'clock in the morning practice, but you can come to the evening practice. So I started going to the evening practice and as a walk-on, and the players, they got upset because they thought it wasn't fair that I didn't have to go to 2-a-day practices. I was only going to 1-day practice. So one day the coach called me in the office and she was like, hey, this is not going to work. The players are complaining that you're not making it to 2 days. So if you can't make it to 2-day practices, you can't be on the team. So it was a tough decision for me because at the time, I really needed my day job, and I didn't have a car, so it was no other choice. And a lot of those players, they was living on campus, but at the time, the dorms was only for full-time athletes. The community college they had apartments for the athletes, and they had to be coming from out of state. But me, I was living in West Palm Beach, so the coach wasn't gonna sacrifice me. I'm a walk-on. She wasn't gonna put me in an apartment, the athletic apartment, because I'm not really a athlete on a scholarship. I'm just a walk-on. So yeah, so I didn't play. My goal was, okay, if I don't play for a college team, then I want to work around the sport. So I transferred to Barry University. And when I got to Barry, I talked to the coach to see if I could join the team. And of course, he told me the same story, like he already have his team made. So I was like, okay, if I can't play basketball, of course, I'm going to work around it. So I decided to major in sport management. And a lot of times your setback, so I look at life like, God gives you 3 answers. He gives you yes, he gives you not yet, or he gives you, I have something better. So I looked at my setback as God had something better. because when I joined the sport management program, sport management allowed me to work the 2013 Super Bowl game.
Oh,
it
wow.
allowed me to work the NBA All-Star game. And if I was playing on the college basketball team, I wouldn't have gotten those opportunities because I was friends with some of the players, and they would tell me that they had to pick their majors based on their practice schedule. So a lot of them wanted to major in sport management, but they were telling me they couldn't because it was time consuming. It would interfere with their practice schedule. So, God, he had other plans for me. It probably wasn't for me to play professional sport. He had something better. And that's how I looked at my setback.
I love it. Take that and you bring it to do something positive. So you graduate, you got your degree. What has the sports management degree bring you to today? I know you have your podcast, and that is called Let's Talk Women in Basketball, but we'll get into that shortly. But what else has your degree brought you?
So sport management, it's a tough, it was good in college because I got all these open opportunities. I got a chance to work for the Miami Dolphins. I actually worked 3 seasons with the Miami Heat, but it was only a part-time position. And, I wanted full-time, I wanted a full-time job in sports. So it allowed me to have opportunity, exposure to professional sports. And it also gave me an opportunity to the position I have now, being an athletic director at a middle school. It's not a big position. It's not a position that I didn't see myself doing, 10 years ago. But sport management opened that door for me. That degree opened a door for me to get the big time position that I didn't see, 10 years ago. It also allowed me to, start my own podcast. I got a chance to, I learned the business of sports, and I learned, through sport management, I learned that you don't have to wait on opportunity. You could create your opportunity. You could create your own podcast. You could create your own YouTube channel to get exposure in sports. You can even be an owner of a team, God willing. So it's other avenues in sports, not just playing the sport, but sport management taught me that you could work in the business of sports.
Nice. So you have a podcast. Congratulations. It's tough work, but congratulations. So is it called Let's Talk Women in Basketball?
Yes, it was called Let's Talk WNBA, but I had to rebrand and change the name, and I changed it to Let's Talk Women in Basketball.
Okay, so where did the idea to get a podcast come from, and what made you decide to talk women in sports?
Okay, so the idea came from, I love women's basketball. I love WNBA as well as college basketball. So at first I was going to specifically only talk about the WNBA because I know the WNBA don't get much exposure on SportsCenter like the NBA. It doesn't get much exposure on NBA TV. You can turn to NBA TV and then they'll talk about the WNBA sometimes, but it's not like 24/7 like NBA. So I figure, okay, let me create a podcast where WNBA fans could watch my podcast about stats, about interviewing the players, getting to know the players, because a lot of people don't know the WNBA players personally. They don't know their story. So, just telling their story to expose the game a little bit more. My podcast is fairly new. I'm still trying to figure things out and book guests as we go on top of my schedule. So it was just an avenue for WNBA fans as well as women's basketball fans to just come on and get a chance to learn more about the players.
Nice. I love the reasoning and the platform that you are building. What has been the toughest part of starting your own podcast?
I would say the toughest part would be managing my full-time job as well as trying to book guests recording the episode, editing, because I do my own editing. So editing my episodes, trying to book guests is one of the toughest parts, because you know my goal is to interview every WNBA player. That's the goal, but
that might go too.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work out that way, because you know. But you just got to keep pushing until one day, you know, someone gives you that yes, like, yes, you can interview me.
Yes, right. That's when you hear yes, that's like the best blessing, the best feeling in the entire world. Yes. So speaking of Let's Talk Women in Basketball, where in the next year would you like to see your podcast? And if you could say anything about your podcast, describe it in one word, what would it be?
Okay. So I would say I would like my podcast to grow as far as followers. I would like to create more content, because right now it's on a dry season, because I haven't posted as much as I should. So I would say creating more content and building that following.
Okay.
That would be the goal. And the other question you had was describe it in one word. Her story.
Ooh, girl. Yeah, I like it. I love it. Ooh, her story. Yes.
Each of those players have a story to tell. They all came from adversity. They all fought their way to their dreams. So I want to be the one to tell their story.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I interviewed someone 2 days ago that I met through a podcast group on Facebook. So if you do have Facebook, I can put you in the podcast group on Twitter. And the reason she picked up a basketball was so amazing. I'm not going to spill the beans because you got to listen to it. But
yeah, I'm definitely going to listen to this.
The reasoning, well, it will come out tomorrow at 4. So I'll next week, because I have someone out from college for tomorrow. But the reasoning that she picked up a ball was absolutely amazing.
Yes.
And I want, like you, I want to hear the story, because you don't know whether you could like benefit from it, or if you're going through the same problem and you can hear someone's story and you're like, oh, I can do that, or oh, I can do this, just by listening to what someone has to say. So
yes, definitely.
Right. I wanted to ask you a question. I was watching, I'll send you the clip later, but I was watching this clip and it was talking about BG, please free her.
Yeah.
But he said some real stuff, and I just want to ask your opinion. He said the reason that the women don't get enough Jersey exposures. Thank you. Took the words out of my mouth. Can't think on a dime. He said it's because women don't support women.
Because women don't support women? Yeah.
I couldn't even say no.
I can't even deny that, because
he said the way he said it, he said the men are buying the men's jerseys, the men are buying the tickets, the men are watching the games. So it's like, where's our sisters at?
Yeah, it's true. Like, it's true. A lot of women look at women's basketball as it's a male sport. It's a male game. Even women in sports, they look at it like it's a male dominant industry. Why are you trying to work in sports? Like, you should be, doing something that's
I love it.
more, feminine. So a lot of women, they don't support the game because they look at it as it's a male dominant industry. Why would I watch? Or why would I rock a jersey? Or why would I rock their brand? It's actually true. I don't see a lot of women wearing the gears. I do see a lot of women at the game. I will say that, when I go to the game, but it's always the young women who want to play the game. You never see adults, not too many, unless they have a child that's interested in the game. So yeah, that's definitely true. A lot of women don't support women basketball. Surprisingly, my podcast, my following is more males that's following than females.
When I heard it, I first thought of it as the reason is because women don't ever want to see you do better than them. I don't think it's being dominant in the male world, because let's face it, in every aspect of sports, there's a woman there. You know what I'm saying? There's women in NFL. I mean, there's not a national women's football league, but there's women in sports. And I just think even when it comes down to friends, oh, you look good, girl, but they don't want you to look better than them. You know what I'm saying? So that's how
women always have that jealousy.
Secret competition, right? It's like, oh, we could all eat, you know? So So I just
that could be it too. You know, a lot of females, I don't know, they always have that, I gotta do better than you. I gotta, you know, they don't have that support, you know, for one another. And I think it's in the male genes too. You know, a lot of males are facing the same situation, but it's not as bad as the women.
Women's, no, it's not.
Yeah.
If you could interview someone tomorrow, who would it be and why?
Lisa Leslie. Lisa.
You gonna wear
Leslie.
your sneakers too, girl?
Yes, I would. Lisa Leslie. I'm hoping to interview her one day. That would be a blessing, and it's because she's always been my role model. You know, she's always been someone I admire, and I would just like to, you know, pick her brain a little bit.
Ooh, so someone you admire.
Yeah.
You just love her, and you want to pick her brain.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got your women that you would like to interview. Who in the NBA would you like to interview tomorrow?
James.
Yeah, that's my girl.
It would have been Kobe Bryant, but rest in peace. He was my favorite another one of my favorite players. But I will have to get the next best thing, and that's LeBron James.
I don't know, girl. I might have to cut you in line on that one.
No, I got. We can do it together.
We can do it. We can do it together. We can tag team LeBron's brain together.
Yeah.
Yes. I appreciate you coming on Sports Talk with C, letting us know about who you are, letting us know about Let's Talk Women in Basketball. Please let the fans know where to find you, follow you, and listen to your podcast.
Okay, you can find me at Let's Talk Women in Basketball on Instagram. Also, Let's Talk Women in Basketball on Facebook. I also have my own clothing brand that you can follow on Instagram called Just for Hoopers. You know, I sell basketball t-shirts, hoodies, hats. So just check it out. And
I gotta check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, you can also check it out on justforhoopers.shop. www.justforhoopers.shop.
You do shorts?
Shorts?
Shorts.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
But it's in the coming.
And I want to say to you, no hoping. All your interviews are going to come. We're going to speak that into existence, girl.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Everyone, make sure you go follow, like, subscribe, and listen to Let's Talk Women in Basketball. And I appreciate you, Jennifer, for coming on my podcast, Sports Talk with C, sharing your journey, chopping it up with me. And hopefully we get to talk soon.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.